Hey y'all, I'm Nate. I'm a little bit new to War of the Ring, but this is and this is actually my first online game, first game with the Java client. So if you'll see down here, there's some stuff that I'm definitely confused with, and but I really liked Ira's videos, and I wanted to make some of my own. I really do enjoy this game more than I thought I would, and I want to learn to be a better player. Anyways, um, here's where we're starting. I am free in this game, so I've got a good look into my head, and my opponent is Shadow. Um, you'll see I start off with just a beautiful die roll. One Palantir, two mini perhaps, and I've got no quarter or help unlooked for, which is fine, and Mirror of Galadriel, which is fine. Both of these kind of pretty much unplayable in the beginning. And my opponent has Shadows on the Misty Mountain, which is great, and Black Captain Commands. I feel like both of these cards are pretty good. Shadows, always good to have muster cards early, and Black Captain Commands will be good almost immediately. These types of cards that turn event or Palantirs into attacks and movements are very powerful, very, very good. So let's just sort of jump right into it. So I'm starting off with this somewhat awkward position where I've got this Palantir and I have nothing to really do with it. And so I think to myself, well, I could start the turn by drawing, see if I can find anything useful to do with it. Or maybe if I get hit immediately, lose Gandalf, um, and Strider, and I get revealed, so I get a 2 reveal, then in that case, it would be great to have this Palantir to go ahead and hide. So I start off by moving. I move, and of course, I'm safe. They rolled 2 eyes. My opponent goes ahead and gets Isengard down, and then I move again. Um, there, it's interesting to me. I don't actually know whether moving in the beginning is a good thing or not. Well, I mean, obviously you want to move, but maybe you want to pass a couple of times. I think probably if I were to redo this again, I would pass until it got to my opponent had equal die with me. I'm not really sure what the benefit of me immediately moving is. If someone does know, I would love to know. Um, so at this point, I move again. Um, I don't think this is correct. I do think that I've got this Palantir. Well, I guess, again, if I move, I get hit, I lose Gandalf, I can hide. So I like this. This is pretty good. But I move, I get hit, and I just get revealed. So kind of sucks, but, 0 corruption. I'm revealed. Um, my opponent musters Sauron. They get Saruman. I draw a strategy card, Spirit of Mordor, which is good. Great for the Scout's ability, which is down here, which allows you to retreat. And so this kind of gives me, you'll see what I do right after this. My opponent goes ahead and moves stuff, which is interesting. You could have used this for muster as well. You could have mustered the Southrons and Easterlings to war as well with this, which I don't know. If we look at these shadows, I would have probably just used this as a move as well. I think that's a pretty good move. And I go ahead and I move this guy from Carrick or whatever into Old Forest Road. And the idea behind this is now I've got scouts, so this guy can actually retreat into Woodland Realm, and these 3 territories up here account for 5 points. So they're commonly called Dew. They're all from different nations. And they're all like not super well fortified to begin with. So it means Shadow generally marches north to go ahead and take these. This is a super common strategy for Shadow. So moving this guy here is great because 1, it's a small little impediment. 2, I can retreat them into Woodland Realm. So if Woodland Realm gets attacked again, by having this guy in Woodland Realm and Woodland Realm getting attacked, it actually moves the north closer and closer to war, which is kind of interesting. So this scouts lets you actually retreat into a territory that is friendly, free for the purpose of army movements, but not actually controlled by you. Even so, the North cannot be at war, and they can retreat somewhere where it's really good to have them, like in a fortress or a stronghold. So I do this. I move these guys from Edoras to Westonnet. because eventually I want to move them into Helm's Deep. Helm's Deep is also another juicy target that often goes down without too much of a fight, because Isengard can muster up this massive force and just slam right through forwards of Eisen into Helm's Deep. And that doesn't give you enough musters to actually muster in Helm's Deep at all. So make the move. My opponent moves Nazgul. Seems like a good thing to do. Might be a little bit early, but they did want to go ahead and get a Nazgul on the Fellowship. So what do we draw? I'll look at these. So I draw Elven Rope, which is good. At least I can play things now. And through a day and a night, which is wonderful, especially for Free People's military victory. Not as useful otherwise. I don't see any really great use for it immediately. Let me know if this is useful for defense, but I've only seen it used for Free People military victories. And my opponent gets Ring Wraiths are Broad, which is good, and Hill Trolls, which is great. So this is one of these reinforcement cards that you can go ahead and have. So they allocate one eye. I replace the guide to Strider. So it's interesting. I can't lose Gandalf now, but I do want to make one move next turn. I've got 4 die, so the expected number of moves is going to be less than 2. Well, I guess Will of the West. So yeah, expected number of die will be 2 to go ahead and be able to move. But I do want to move, and Strider gives me the ability to use unnecessary die to go ahead and be able to move. It's interesting. You could keep Gandalf here. You're only going to be moving once, and if you do get hit, it's nice to have Gandalf to be able to die, so that you can bring them back as Gandalf the White. So, anyways, see, we go ahead and re-roll. My opponent rolls this, which is not the best roll. A lot of Palantirs. A couple of character movements, which are fine. Pretty bad roll. And I get a beautiful roll once again. Very, very happy with that roll. So I immediately hide using the Palantir, so Strider's ability, which is good. You want to be hidden so you don't get hit by lots of things. My opponent has a ton of character die in Palantirs. So, they immediately draw something, Lure of the Ring, which it would have hit me. They could have hit me if I were not hidden, and I already had this in hand. I pass. They draw another thing, or they play Shadows on the Misty Mountain to go ahead and recruit some folks over on the Misty Mountains, which is great. So now they've got this nice big force to go ahead and probably take out Lorien. I pass. They play Nazgul Strike. No, they draw a Nazgul Strike, which is great. You'll kind of see what happens here. And so, yeah. They then play Ringwraiths are Abroad to move their Nazgul. So, they kind of had Black Captain commands previously. Maybe moving Nazgul wasn't super important last time. Maybe they could have done it this time. I haven't moved yet. So maybe they shouldn't have moved Nazgul last time. Maybe they could have just done army movements. But anyways, they do move Nazgul, and they basically start marching towards Lorien. 2 movements, which is great. I do move, and I don't get hit, so that's great. And then they play Nazgul Strike. So the idea behind this is that if they draw one of the reveal tiles, which is, what is this? 15 tiles. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles here that will reveal me, and actually force me to go ahead and get an extra thing from Moria, if that's what happens. So they do hit me, and they only draw 1. So lucky me, I just take the corruption and keep moving. There are things that I could necessarily do with this other than move, but I don't know. You just kind of want to keep moving here. I've got my full fellowship. Everyone is totally fine. So, obviously there is a chance to get hit through Moria. There's going to be 1 die, 1 reroll, and they hit on 5s and 6s. So I don't know. But you'll kind of see, like, this game, I really focus on moving the fellowship. Like, that's basically what I'm seeing here. Shadow doesn't seem to be moving that fast army-wise. yeah, they're going to get one thing under siege, but the rest of my territories look very good. And Do, which is this 5-point thing, is going to be fine. They're going to have to attack Lorien. So they miss. I'm able to safely move. They move their armies together. I go ahead and um, move Gondor down the political track. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. Perhaps I should have used an army movement to go ahead and gather my little dwarf boys and the Western folks, but I didn't. And then they attack Lorien, which is good. And they leave both the Nazgul and one army back to go ahead and, I mean, that's where the Fellowship's going to be. So, end of the turn, they draw Cruel Weather, which is great. You'll see this being played to really good effect. And they play Fighting, or they get Fighting Urukai, which is a phenomenal card. So I get Athelos, which is great. You'll see this also. And then Power of Tom Bombadil, which is fine. Whatever. Okay. I go ahead and I discard a card. I'm above the number of cards. And you can kind of think here, what would you discard in this case? Yeah, I think I know what I discard. I take a long time. And then, yeah, I discard Help Unlooked For. I don't know. I just don't like the top part of Help Unlooked For at all. And I like a lot of the bottom parts of a lot of these things. I want to keep Elven Rope. The Power of Tom Bombadil is basically advantageous position was on the bottom of both. So I don't know. That seems like the correct discard to me. So I do declare the Fellowship. I change the guide back to Gandalf so we can get this gray old man out of my Fellowship. Shadow allocates an eye. They roll 2. They get a great roll. So a couple of musters, couple of army movements. Again, they can't get Southrons and Easterlings to war really and get the Witch King this round. So early musters are really important. And maybe sometimes even though army movements are great in the beginning to go ahead and get things going, maybe sometimes you just prioritize early musters. But then again, you don't want to be stuck with a handful of musters and not be able to move armies without the Mouth of Sauron. So, anyways, it's mine. I decide to immediately move, which I don't know. Why do I want to immediately move? It gives me some information, so I can know whether I need to use that Will of the West to get Gandalf or not. I don't want to get revealed, obviously, by any of the tile drawing cards. That would really suck. So I do think moving here immediately makes sense. They can play like different things, but I want to get Gandalf. So I move. They hit. They draw 3. So I mean, this is just perfect. I get Gandalf out of here. Strider becomes the guide. They play Cruel Weather. And I think this is a great use of Cruel Weather. I think Cruel Weather is basically used to either push you back into Moria, or it is used to go ahead and push you out of Mordor. I think this is totally fine to use it. Is there anything else I would have played? Fighting Urukai, Lord of the Ring, Hill Trolls, Black Captain Commands. Maybe you play Black Captain Commands. Once you get, you don't have the Witch King immediately. You're not going to get them basically until the end of the round too, unless you attack Lorien earlier. I don't know. Yeah, maybe you attack Lorien and get the elves to war, and then you can play Black Captain Commands afterwards. I don't know. It's kind of up to you. Military is going kind of slow. Cruel Weather, it's a die for a die. It sets the Fellowship back. No. So anyways, they move me back into Moria. Oh no, I just left. I get Gandalf. I'm going to get Gandalf regardless. It's nothing that's going to prevent me from doing that. They move, so they get their armies all nice and ready to get out. I probably just pass. I pass. They move again. They get all their armies out. Looks like they're going to go towards Gondor. Still worried about Do. Always got to be worried about Doom. And I'm thinking to myself slowly that like maybe they're not going to be able to get the Witch King. I don't know why. I'm thinking that they need to attack Gondor. Well, so look at what the next move is. So they go ahead and they move the Southrons and Easterlings. They move some folks out of Mordor. I don't know why, but in my head right here, I was like, oh, they're not going to be able to get the Witch King this round. There's no down in the south with Gondor. There's no leaders, so they can't move these guys. And I don't know why I was so myopically focused on Gondor. Anyways, I've just been passing this entire time. So I go ahead and I move folks, which is fine. I wanted to make those moves at some point. It's a fine enough time to go ahead and make those moves. I don't want to get Gondor to war because they're just going to attack in Osgiliath. That's going to be a free muster for me, and I'll be able to muster Gondor. There's no one else that I want to muster here. Anyways, so I move those folks in there. Shadow attacks Lorien, and so we play cards, and they choose a strategy card. And what do I choose? What do we do here? Advantageous position and onslaught. It's interesting. Confusion's good. The confusion may have been a better play initially. Confusion may have been a better play. They play the Fighting Urukai, which is really good to Urukai to go ahead and get that out of there. Yeah, confusion may have been better. Heroic Death is good at some point as well to go ahead and play. I probably think confusion is better, just sort of generally speaking. I just played this. You'll see my combat cards this game are terrible. Onslaught, it's pretty good. It's a bold move to play at first, but whatever. So anyways, let's go ahead and see what happens. They get 4 whopping hits. I guess confusion wouldn't have done anything, but I get 2 hits. They sacrifice 2 people to onslaught, or 4 people to onslaught, I guess. And then they just kill Lorien. It was a very quick fight. And I don't know why I didn't remember this, but this brings the elves down 2 times. They initiated a battle, and they also took a city. So that brings them down twice, which puts the elves to war, which means they can get the Witch King. It's really just been great play. My opponent has just done great play this entire time. I don't know. You could have played Faustine. You could play We Come to Kill's not bad, but it's better to save that for the Isengard folks. And Hill Trolls is good to have. I think that was good play. Maybe they are terrible. Would have been good. I don't know. I guess you don't have too much stuff there. Yeah, I would either play Faustine or that, but Faustine you don't want to play. Yeah, I think my opponent's done really well. So I go ahead and muster Rohan. Yeah, that's fine. Who else am I going to muster? I'm not going to muster the elves. I don't want to muster. I could muster Gondor. Maybe I should have mustered Gondor. I just feel like they're going to go ahead and muster for me. Rohan's good. I don't want to muster the north. I'm not going to go for a military victory. Doesn't look like there's any threats up there. So they get the Witch King, obviously. And we roll die. I got my Gandalf. So my 5 die. They get Ring is Mine, which is really good. They get Day Without Dawn, which is also phenomenal for them. They need to get the Southrons and Easterlings to war to use it, though. I get Mithril Cloten Sting, great, and Faramir's Rangers, which, as you can see, is super nice. So this is, it's something to, if you're going to be parking outside of Osgiliath for a couple of turns, then that's, this type of thing might happen. I declare, obviously outside of Moria, back on top of this 1 troop in Nazgul, and then we roll. So what do we get? 2 eyes. I get some musters, some movement. Again, really good roll. And my opponent also gets a good roll. They can get the Southrons and Easterlings to war this turn, which is great. And they've got plenty of movement. They've got 1 extra muster, which they can use for a couple of things if they want, perhaps like hill trolls. I guess not hill trolls. I don't know what you'll use that muster for, but I'm not sure. Yeah. So, anyways, it's in my hand too. So I know what I do. I play Faramir's Rangers. Obviously, they're going to move down here at some point, probably immediately, and I've got to go ahead and get Faramir out. So I roll. I attack the north. No real reason why I attack the north. I think that the north is most likely going to be moving in first because the Witch King is there. So I get 2 hits, which is good. I get some beefy boys up in there. And they play Black Captain Commands. That's exactly right. They get all their Nazgul down south. And they attack Gondor. They put it to war. I look at my cards. I could play Scouts here, right? I've got this massive force. Maybe Scouts is like really good, but I want to save Scouts for Fords of Isen. So I think to myself, what do I play? I think Confusion looks good. I mean, I can get some hits on them. That's nice. The rest of this is kind of useless. This is if a Hobbit, this is if Strider, and this is just kind of useless. So I don't have great combat cards. And my opponents, obviously it depends on what they want to cycle. Lord of the Ring, Hill Trolls, Ring is Mine. Day Without Dawn, probably. So let's see what they play. So they choose a strategy card. I choose a strategy card. Yep, I do play Confusion, and they play Day Without Dawn. I think I remember that. So, yeah, that's fine. Day Without Dawn is nice to have, but what are the chances the Free People rolls more than 2 Wills of the West? Is basically the question. For a longer game, I mean, you want to cycle a card, and you can't play this turn. I guess you don't. You already used your Palantir. I don't know. Maybe you play The Ring Is Mine. Maybe you play Lore of the Ring. I don't know. So we go ahead and do this. They get 2 hits, 3 hits, or something. I get 1 hit, and these guys are still alive, and I retreat. And I retreat into Helm's Deep, which is kind of interesting. Noting the 3 hits, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this felt like a full stack. This kind of meant that I could muster elsewhere. Yeah, I don't get like the double elite in Helm's Deep, but yeah, it's fine. I get an extra leader. So, anyways, they move in. I muster an elite over in Pelargir. I don't know. Is there a reason why I do that? Why I don't just muster in Dol Amroth? I guess what I'm thinking is like they probably don't have Corsairs of Umbar. Otherwise, I mean, I'll have a turn to go ahead and muster in Dol Amroth if they have Corsairs of Umbar. I guess that's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking like, okay, let me just put this elite in Pelargir. It will help defend. I don't know. That kind of feels useless. I think probably mustering 1 elite in Dol Amroth is the right move here. But you'll kind of see what happens. So they attack Minas Tirith. I go into siege. I pass. They muster Southrons and Easterlings. I move to Fellowship. They miss, which is likely. They get Southrons and Easterlings all the way to war. I pass again. They move their guys. Basically, their full stack into Osgiliath and Southrons and Easterlings. So this is starting to look much more like they don't have Corsairs. So feeling good. I move again. This is likely to hit. They do hit. They draw 1 reveal. So again, I save this 1 muster near the end so that I can hide with Strider, basically. So I move over to Western Brownlands, beautiful place. I think, and then they attack Pelargir. And I put no card. There's not really any card. I could play Scouts, which maybe is a good play. I mean, yeah, I mean, Dol Amroth is over there. Like, yeah, I don't know. I just still think to myself that I would rather play my Scouts on Forts Vising. Are there any cards they want to play? I mean, they're probably not going to play a card. They didn't play a card. So they get one hit. I get one hit. A fair trade. I retreat out of Pelargir. Okay. And I hide. And they get some folks in Isengard. So I mean, I think that's a good move. You know, you're eventually going to do that. I don't know. Shadow's been playing great. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely no mistakes thus far. I've seen. Though, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't think there were any mistakes. They could have played a little bit differently on some event cards back in Lorien, but you know. So Denethor's Folly, great. You know, they don't have a massive army attacking Minas Tirith at the moment. Minas Tirith is pretty beefy. So Denethor's Folly is great to go ahead and soften those up. They also got Warm with Sorrow and Toil, which is good. I've got all of my companions in, so this is going to be really good. I get there and back again. So, which is kind of cool. So this it's starting to make me think like, okay, maybe Aragorn at this point. You know, Aragorn is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moves. So I move the Fellowship twice, and I can go ahead and crown Aragorn in Dol Amroth, and a Power to Great, which I'm like, okay, this is pretty useless at this point because Lorien has fallen. So, you know, allocate an eye. They get 3 eyes, some movements, pretty good roll. I get this, which is just an awful. I mean, it's not what I wanted. I've been really focused on the Fellowship this entire time. The Fellowship's been doing okay, and this is not a roll you want to see when you're focused on the Fellowship. I was thinking that I would get into. There's a possibility I'd get into Mordor in 2 turns, and with this roll, it's like doesn't look likely. So. So I muster. What do I do? I add, of course, to Dol Amroth. My opponent attacks Lossermark. They get no hits. I get 1 hit. And then I retreat. I retreat all of my guys into Dol Amroth. So, you know. And notice, the folks in Pelargir, like I was able to, through 1 muster, able to kind of like deplenish this force by 2 units. That's coming all the way to Dol Amroth, and now Dol Amroth is full. So, that's pretty good. I muster again, and I put a leader in Dol Amroth, and I put a guy in Pelargir. And like this Pelargir guy, or this guy in whatever this place is called. What is this called? Lossernock. So I put a guy in Lossernock, and this is kind of cool. It's annoying. The Shadow needs to spend an action at some point to go ahead and deal with this guy. I wasn't going to muster any more in Dol Amroth. A leader is kind of all I wanted. So I was, I want to put this one, I'm get this extra muster. Where do I put it? I don't want the elves. The elves don't need anything. This felt pretty good. So Shadow moves. They hit Dol Amroth. I go into siege. Yep, my opponent moves fast. I go ahead and I retake Pelargir with half a move. And it's just it's a mistake. I'm like, what do I do with my other half move? Honestly, I should just have moved Fords of Eisen into Helm's Deep. I've been saving on to the scouts for way too long. And plus, if they eventually do take Pelargir at some point in time back again, it would be nice to play the scouts on this guy. This guy can cause more havoc. This Lasernach little guy here. So, anyways, I don't do that. I instead moved Grey Havens because I was like, the elves are at war. They're the only folks that are at war. I don't want to weaken any elven stronghold that is legitimately doing something, like defending itself, like Rivendell, or definitely not Woodland Realms. So maybe I'll get a ton of army movement and I can march these guys all the way from Grey Havens out. This is a terrible move. Just don't do that. So, anyways, my opponent moves their Nazgul, which is fine. I don't know why they move them all there. Very strange to me. Yeah, I have no idea why they move every single Nazgul there. They play Worn with Sorrow and Toro, or Worn with Sorrow and Toil. Great. I have a full fellowship. This sucks hard. I what do I do? I use an Elven Ring. Yeah, so I use an Elven Ring here to go ahead and move the Fellowship. I've got to keep moving, basically. And I use this as the second to last action because I mean, yeah, I know I'm giving my opponent a ring. Obviously, that muster that they have as their final thing. I guess they could use it for Isengard, but I've got to keep moving. So why is this? Okay, let me just go down here. They are looking for me. They do not find me. I make the move safe. They attack Pelargir. I play no card. And again, I could have moved Fords of Eisen in, and I could have retreated this guy. And they kill me. And so yeah. Where do I retreat them? Maybe Lamadon. That's not bad. It prevents folks from getting reinforcements easily into Dol Amroth. I think that would have been worthwhile. So I don't know. I think that was a bad move initially on my part. I mean, this also is kind of a little bit of a lesson for Shadow as well. Anytime you are. So in this case, it's tough because the Fellowship is actually moving at a click. It's getting there, and Shadow needs to take over some places. It's going to get all of. It's easily going to get Minas Tirith because you've got Denethor's Folly. Dol Amroth, hopefully, it will get. It's. I think Shadow is moving fine. I set Shadow back, I guess, sort of one move. But you got to be careful leaving these like little settlements around for free people to go ahead and do these sort of strange musters in. It's something I've done in my own home games a little bit, where I just kind of mess up by leaving these little settlements alive. So you can afford to be a little bit meticulous as Shadow sometimes when conquering places. I muster Rohan. I think it's fine. And they forgot to activate everything. The Witch King. I'm trying to muster Rohan. It just definitely feels like I should have moved those guys from Fords of Eisen. I will do it at another point. So, Elven Ring to go ahead and move some folks. Not yet. So, capture Minister. All the Orc Patrol great. Obviously, Orc Patrol is pretty good too. Goes ahead and prevents the Fellowship from moving. I get a bullet song for keeping Fellowship safe. Garble, fine. It's like the dwarves are needed to be at war at this point. So, I remove the fellowship. Obviously, I'm going to go into the Nazgul, and we roll. But it rolls kind of yucky roll, and too many musters that you actually want. I rolled this beautiful, ideal roll. So yeah, it's pretty good. And what do I have here? Um, yeah, yeah. So, anyways, really nice roll. I go ahead and I use this to move. And again, there, I don't want to get Day Without Dawn. They actually played it as a combat card. I kind of forgot this during the game, so I didn't need to do this, but I did that. They rolled in this. Control is great. They want to delay me as much as possible. They really want to delay me from getting into Mordor this round. This is crucial. If they can delay me from getting into Mordor, I mean, I guess I've moved once and I'm 1-2 away. I've got 3 movement. I could get revealed one more time along the way. Orc Patrol could reveal me as well. And they draw an eye. So, that sucks. They drew a 1 from their Nazgul Search or whatever, and they drew an eye from Orc Patrol. Fellowship's been lucky. Again. And they hit me. They get a 2 reveal. And so here, I think a mistake. I think I should have. I mean, I've got this full fellowship, but here's what I'm thinking. I want to get maximum value from Athelos, which I do want to play. So I just take the corruption directly. So I actually think that's not terrible. I don't think it's terrible. I could have taken a random companion though, but I don't want to get Aragorn, obviously, because there's nothing that they can do to stop me from getting into. Well, I could hide and they could play another tile drawing card to reveal me again. So So anyways, they move. Oh, they're going towards Folly. Yeah, I don't know if I would have used a movement die to play that. I don't know. I just think it seems likely that you're just going to be able to take Minas Tirith without it. But there's 2 leaders in there, so. I guess another reason why I didn't discard a companion is I've got Warm with Sorrow and Toil, and I don't want to get Athelos I don't want to lose Athelos, basically. So I had Tirith, their own cards, and I just don't even know if you need to. I guess you want to cycle cards. I don't know. So, yeah. So, the fellowship's doing L3-4. The fellowship's like at -7 corruption, basically getting into Mordor. So, is it worthwhile to keep Lore of the Ring? I don't think so. I guess you kill Strider with it if you want to do that. I think the Fellowship at this point is beyond corrupting. So I would have just played Lord of the Ring instead of Hill Trolls, and cycled. But that's not what happened. They get 1 hit. I get 2 hits. They play again, obviously. Relentless Assault, totally fine. And happens. 2, 3 hits. I get. And I get a lot of hits as well. I get 4 hits. So my Gondorians are really crushing it. So they're going to need to reinforce this. Maybe Death Force Folly was necessary. Into Mordor this turn, basically, and basically my corruption is nothing. So I'm basically like optimizing for speed on the Fellowship at the moment. I'm getting in Mordor with what is it? -7 corruption, full contingent with Athelos in hand. And do I have Bilbo's Song as well? And Bilbo's Song. These guys are uncorruptible. So they move, and they move down as well, which is good. Yep, because you do eventually want to take Helm's Deep. But we'll see something that happens in this game that I find interesting. So the problem right now is that Dol Amroth is weak. It's super weak. There's like what 8 hit points there versus 6 in a fortress. So anyways, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a hard fight. And if I draw Curidan ships, or if I draw uh, the other card, it's gonna be even harder.